Hey y'all, it's Amanda and this is my Texas Zone 8 garden, and we just had some rain come through. It's overcast, it's only in the 80s, so I'm out here and we're gonna get a few things done in the front garden. Okay, so we have a little bit of rain. We're expecting cooler temps for the next few days. I'm really excited. I'm going to try to get out and do a bunch of work in the garden. But we're going to start here in the front garden this morning, doing a number of different things. I'm going to be trying out a new to me tool to trim some of the Virginia creeper around the house. We're also going to be working on the crepe myrtle behind me, and we're going to be planting some new perennials that I want to use almost like a living mulch to kind of choke out weeds in that area. All right, let's start with the Virginia creeper. Okay, so this is Virginia creeper all along the front portion of my yard, and I love it. It really gives kind of that cottage, kind of secret garden vibe that I really enjoy. But it is getting longer in some places. So I want to show you a little bit of the upkeep. Usually I come in and trim this by hand, but I do have a new tool by Ryobi, which is Swiss cut. I've tried it once on my spirea and it did not do well. I think the spirea stems were just too thick for it. It's battery operated. I don't know. So I want to give it another try and see if I can't trim up that. So let's just kind of start with this area and see if I can shape this up a little bit. All right, I definitely cut off some portions around here, which means some of these areas are gonna die. We'll kind of just pull out those extra pieces, just like that. Now I know some people have reactions to Virginia creeper. That is not something that I typically run into. One of the big things when trimming Virginia creeper is that any of the pieces that fall down low, we want to make sure we pick those up because those can be a problem. I do need to get to some of these that are up higher, so let me grab a ladder. Nope. Ugh. So that tool definitely does not get larger pieces. Okay, I guess we're taking this whole portion down right here. This is fine. All of this will fill back in pretty quickly. This is the piece I wanted right there. I don't want it filling in my gutters. See if I can reach that, just a little bit of area. There we go. So I know that some people can have allergic reactions to Virginia creeper. So if it's something you're interested in growing, you need to be kind of aware of that. Now, in all honesty, I don't have a lot of interaction with my Virginia creeper very often, except for the occasional trimming and then pulling at the base of it. So I'm going to show y'all what I do at the base of it to keep it from getting out of control. But coming in here, picking up all these stray pieces is important so that this doesn't all start growing in my garden in other places. And Virginia creeper can definitely be quite invasive if you just let it go. You definitely need to work to maintain it. Okay, so that brings me over this way, which got a container I really need to work on. Now this is the base of the plant over here. Got some weeds down here, but what I'm looking for is I'm looking for these. I'm looking for runners that are taking off. We don't want runners taking off anywhere with Virginia creepers. See that right there? See that runner taking off right there? Let me get my clippers. We want to clip any runners that are trying to take off in the garden. It's extremely important. And I just like to get in here, pull out all my weeds, see what's going on down here. And see, like that little runner, you don't want that there. Here's another one. It's taken off, and I do this every couple of months. Just kind of peek over here. And that's what I have to do to keep this Virginia creeper in check. If I just let it go and never checked on it, this stuff would be everywhere. So super important to come in and take care of that business, just like that. Okay, and real quick, I also have this mum right here that needs to be taken back. It still has blooms that are trying to come up, but y'all, we are almost to the end of July, and this has to be cut back if it's going to bloom before our first frost. So I'm going to take back, I want to keep this guy large because I definitely want him to fill in my space for the fall, my garden for the fall. So I'm going to go ahead and take this back maybe about 6 inches. Basically just taking all the blooms and buds from it. And this guy will turn a little bit brown in a few places as I'm exposing a bunch of it to the sun that wasn't originally exposed. It was shaded by, you know, the blooms above it. So it will turn a little bit brown, but it should be fine. And then it should branch out quite thickly for the fall. And this is actually one of the ones that I want to transplant this guy. And I want to divide him into probably at least 3 plants. And spread him out in a couple other locations within my garden. Okay, that looks good. Got that cleaned up. All right, y'all, I'm gonna shift back here. Oh, I'm gonna have to sit down back in here. Okay, been working a little bit on this crepe myrtle, and what I'm wanting to do is I'm wanting to plant stuff underneath here. So what I actually need to start to do is pull a bunch of this growth off the bottom of the crepe myrtle, which is the second time I've done it this season. And it definitely is getting like aphids or something going on. It's all sticky. All the growth down here is sticky. So it's probably good to get this removed anyway so that it can have better airflow. It looks like aphids all over it, at least on this lower portion. I don't see it up high. All right, and I've got a lot of weeds going on back here. I'm gonna try pulling some and see how it does. If it doesn't go well, then I think I'm gonna go grab one of my metal hose and try to scrape it so that I cut everything off at the root. Sorry, I'm breathing hard, y'all. Okay, clear that area out. So we've got the big crepe myrtle up above it. Now, this way is west, so we get tons of west side sun all along this wall. And this area does get afternoon sun, gets a little bit of morning sun, but mostly shade, partly shade, I should say. And so what I want to do is I want to put some perennials that spread and will act as like a natural mulch under here to help with weed suppression. I think would be extremely helpful. So let me show you what I'm thinking about. All right, let me climb back here. Okay, I got two kinds of plants that I wanted to work with back here. One's a little taller than the other. The first one is an artemisia. This is a silver mound, also known as wormwood. It's only about 6 to 12 inches tall. It can take full sun to part sun. It grows about 12 to 18 inches wide. And the goal is that it creates some contrast in here because this area is much darker. Much darker than other areas. And so I think by having this light in here, I think that that'll help a lot. I've got two of those. In addition, I've got this guy, which is Coreopsis rosea, so like a pink American Dreams Coreopsis, also known as threadleaf. And this guy is full to part sun as well, and it needs light watering. It's about 9 to 15 inches tall by 16 to 24 inches wide. And so I think that this would work well as well. These are plants that I wouldn't be utilizing for cut flower. I wouldn't be messing with them very much throughout the season, except to potentially trim, like specifically the Coreopsis back a little bit, maybe a little bit on the artemisia. But they would really just add a pop of color back here, but more importantly, they would act as a living mulch to help suppress the weeds back here. So it is going to be hard digging back here because I have all the roots from this crepe myrtle. So I want to put plants in here that I think will do really well in my area and will last quite a while. And I think these will work. So we are going to start these with biotone. And then once I've got them all placed, I am going to hook up some additional drip irrigation to these guys. Even though they're light watering, I still want to make sure that they're going to get water, especially since I'm planting them during the hottest time of the year. This earth is very dry. Definitely going to have to add some additional drip irrigation, and I'm going to show you what that looks like, adding on to the system that I already have. Can you hear that thunder and lightning? All right, and we're going to use biotone. Look at this color. It's awesome. Oh yeah, that looks good. I wouldn't be surprised if I ran into some daffodil bulbs too. Okay, I also think I'm going to go ahead and cut back my dahlias that are here because it's just too hot in the season for them, and I'd rather them go ahead and start some new growth, which they usually will, and get some blooms in the fall, which would be awesome. Oh, it's already got a ton of new growth coming up from the base anyway. That works good. And I'm going to do this one right back here. Cutting back a little bit of my Texas rock rose too. Yeah, looks good. All right, I'm going to try to wedge myself back here. Okay, so we want to work with the existing drip line right here. All right, we've got that right there. And basically, I want to hook up a line of, let me see if I can find the end of this. All right, we want to hook up some drip line that has emitters on it. And this has emitters every 6 inches, and we want to run it through all of these plants and then come back around and tap back into the original plant, or the original pipe. By doing that, it really keeps the pressure. I could run this line and then just put a goof plug at the end, and I would just have one long line running only off this pipe, only connecting in one place. But that would really slow down the water pressure to that because it would go to the end of the line and stop. What I want to do is I want to go all the way through this line, and I want it to continue back to here. So it starts on this pipe and ends on this pipe. And that's how we will get better water pressure throughout. So I'm going to start by just poking a hole right back there. I'm going to use a straight line coupler or barb and plug up. Just like that. And then I'm going to use some spikes to help this anchor this in place. And I'm really anchoring right to the base of the plant. So I've gone all along, staking at the base of these plants on both sides. So this basically just makes a giant loop around the plants. I'm going to put an additional barbed or straight line coupler. I'm going to make a additional hole in this line, and I'm going to plug back in. So we've got our start and our end in place. I want to make sure that I stake these in a way that they are right up against the base of the plant so they get watered. All right, so we have the pipe. It starts here, then the 6-inch emitters goes all the way around the back of these plants, all the way like that. Now I do think I need an additional one of the Artemisia here, but I'll have to look for that and get that at a later time, or not. I mean, I can leave it there, it's fine. I just, for some reason, the third one feels appropriate for me right there. It's got all that hooked up. Let me grab these pruners and then let's turn on the system and see if it works. Yep, do you see it? All right. All right, despite having drip to these and despite having rain on the way, I am still gonna water them in really well. Excited to see how these do. Now, they may get a little less sun than what they need to be their biggest, but that's okay. And if this experiment works, I would like to add more and really just kind of fill in this area so that next to no soil is showing. I think the last thing I'm going to do after I finish doing this is I'm going to go grab a bag or two of mulch, and especially along the back behind the crepe myrtle, I'm going to go ahead and put some mulch down to help out a little bit. And that'll help with water retention, but it'll also help with more weed suppression. I don't spray anything for weeds typically because I don't want to mess up my other plants, and it's just extra money. So I try to pull them if I can. But it's hard to keep up with that. The mulch I'm using is just a cedar mulch. Yeah, hopefully that'll help in that area a little bit. All right, looks nice. I definitely think another Artemisia. Y'all tell me what you think. But as these mature, it'll take a couple of years, should fill in the space really nicely. And while it's not going to be like a big main player, even just look at that Artemisia color back there. Adds a lot, really pretty. Got my limelight hydrangeas are blooming. They're late this year. And then you can see some of the rust stuff starting to show up. Rubs off. Starting to show up there. So we'll enjoy the blooms probably into August. I'll harshly cut back my limelight hydrangea. But hey, it's been here 4 years and it's doing great with that process. That little guy hanging out. Okay. Getting thunder. Hope we get some rain. Let's see, we've had some sprinkles. Nothing too crazy though. Are y'all like this? Like as soon as you like walk in your garden, you can't help but start pulling weeds? It's hard for me to just look anymore. I always want to be pulling or doing something. Okay, that's some good work. It's still super muggy, super hot. Feeling good. Few more projects I'm going to be doing. So, well, let's talk about what we did today. So I wrapped up, I cleaned up the Virginia creeper, which looks good. I trimmed back one of the mums, perennial mums I have in my garden. I planted 2 new varieties of perennials, including the Artemisia and the Coreopsis, and then ran drip lines to those and then added mulch. So Feels good. It's an area I've been wanting to work on, so it feels good. So next thing I'm going to be doing is adding some fall color into my garden, which sounds weird to do it now, but I want to go ahead and start doing some of it now, especially like my purple fountain grass. So that has a couple of months to grow in before my actual fall garden. So I think that that would be cool. We're totally getting rain coming in, so I'll wrap it up. I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. Drop me a comment. Let me know what's going on in your garden, what you're up to, what difficulties you're having, what successes you're having. Share your garden news, and be sure to check me out on my social media outlets, including Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. As always, she's a mad gardener or a decorator or anything else that she wants to be. Thanks, y'all.